Okay, hello. I am Levi Rudin. I'm going to be doing a book review for the book The Voice Catchers, and let's get into it. So, I was asked to answer three questions in my review, and here we go. So, the first question is actually a three-parter. It's three things that surprised me about the book. Excuse me. So, the first thing that was shocking to me was just the amount of kind of like profiling that goes into this. I mean, I when I heard about it initially, I thought like, oh, like that's interesting. Like people like they can track like the tone of my voice and understand, like if I'm upset, if I'm distraught, if I'm happy, if I'm anxious, and then they can try and market more accurately towards me. But after reading it, it really just sounds like they narrow it down statistically and basically put you in a category of if you're likely to spend, if you have a lot of money, if you're not likely to spend, or if you're not even going to be influenced by it, or vice versa on all of those. So, one of the things for me was just like how deep the profiling goes and how much like actual discrimination is like placed into it, and just like the fact that like they're like leaning on that discrimination as it's backed as by like statistics and facts as they're claiming, but it just really bothered me to think that like they could understand who I am just based off of my voice and putting me into a criteria that fits, my voice. I'm not even sure, like, of the technicality of it. The second thing was downplaying how, like, kind of weird and creepy the whole, like, listening portion is. I was talking to my mom the other day about how she was talking about some sort of, like, illness that she was like talking to my dad about, and they were like in the kitchen, and then she opened her phone and she had an ad for, a medicine for that specific illness. I can't even remember what it was, but just like the fact of like how often that happens is, quite peculiar and kind of like strange, and, like Google Home and Alexa, they made downplay that to say like, oh, like we're just trying to listen to you to market to your needs specifically so that we can, catch you. Say your tone of your voice says that you're sick, and we know that you get sick often. We might market chicken noodle soup to you. It just I just think that there's a lot more that goes into that, and it's a little bit of a deeper layer than just people think. But they really downplay like the bizarreness and the creepiness of it. And then the third thing for me was just the irony of it all, of the contrast between what consumers actually want and what they ask for and what they say. Like for instance, like people really want, ads to be catered towards what they want. They don't want to see nonsense ads for something that they don't want to see. And so with that comes, a marketing team's really saying like we need to listen to these people and like internalize everything that they say. So we need to highlight keywords like and love and hate and, like want. So, and they basically say like, oh, we turn on our listening devices or our phones or our Alexas to key into the conversation, and we record, what you say you like. Say I like Doritos, and then your, phone might log that, your Alexa might log that, and people want that personalized marketing, but at the same time, they don't want to be like tracked and listened to. And I just think that it's just peculiar. I mean, it's just super contrasting. Um, the next question that I was asked was, how could this impact a brand that I really like? So the brand that I chose, the obvious brands were like, Amazon, which is, which we've all been seeing before with the marketing, where the ad pops up for the back roller when you're complaining about back pain and so on. But I chose Spotify just because it's already an extremely personalized platform, but the implications and the additions of having your phone basically listen to you are insane. I mean, it could be like that you're around a bunch of friends and you are feeling, super excited to be with your friends, and it recognizes that you're with a lot of people. It could promote, different playlists, or like playlists that you have that are more exciting and more upbeat. It could hear you say that you're having a really difficult day, and if you keep saying, "Oh, I feel so sad," or "I feel bad," or blah blah blah, it could, understand that and market, a meditation or sad playlists towards you, or happy playlists on the contrary, or anything. And then the same goes for like if you're anxious or whatever, it could say like, "Oh, here's a guided meditation for you that we have." So I think that on the surface it sounds like a really positive thing, and it could be something that is super helpful. Like I would love to get into the car and have something be recommended for me based off of what I was expressing. I was expressing a band that I like, but at the same time, it's where does that um, storage of data stop? Where does it stop recording you? Where does it stop listening to you? What if it picks up key phrases in different contexts and it records it? Can that data be sold to other companies? Just like I just think that it opens like a whole mess of things, and it just can get really dangerous. But like on the surface, people could just see it and say, oh, like this is really positive. I would love for a more personalized marketing stance, and that's something that I support. And just like without like how do they define a breach of privacy, and what are you consenting to? It's just all kind of a little bit of a gray area. So I think in terms of like how that could impact our favorite brand, it could be positive for you as the consumer if they're able to market more accurately towards you. But at the same time, my main point was, where does the data storage and data tracking stop? Where does it stop recording? When does it stop listening? Does it stop recording and listening? So yeah, there's definitely a trade-off, but I think it's a little bit scarier than people understand. The third part was, how could your business partner with users around their data for contextual experiences? So the thing that I kind of thought of for Spotify was, say, excuse me, say you give Spotify access to listen to your microphone for 24 hours a day. And then it picks up keywords that maybe I'm watching a movie and I say, wow, I really like the soundtrack. Well, maybe it goes in and it finds the soundtrack and it finds the composer or finds you know, the band or the artist, and then starts marketing more of that stuff towards me. Well, that might be awesome because maybe I missed the song and I was only able to say like, wow, I really like the song, and then it ended and I wasn't able to catch the song and I forgot about it, and then pops up on my Spotify and I'm super thrilled. But at the same time, again, like where does that stop? How does like what does that entail? Also, the fact that like maybe they could market it as like a wellness tool, saying like, say you get in your car and you're having a really difficult day, it could market calming playlists and guided meditation. It's a bunch of the same stuff, but it's really like it really becomes repetitive. It builds like a false sense of trust with the app, with Spotify saying like, oh, like it's been recognizing what I want, it's been recommending good things. And uh crap, I just lost my train of thought. um it just makes it kind of, okay, just going back, I think I got a little bit off topic, but um for the third question, basically it asks how Spotify could partner with their users for data. I think that Spotify could partner with their users for data by asking if Spotify is allowed to track and record their communication and their talking on the mobile device 24/7. Then Spotify could basically market to you based off of your tone, your expressions, your emotions, and anything that you express that's vocal. And then it could go in and basically say, here's guided meditation, like I said before. Here's a party playlist because you're with your friends. Here's a long driving playlist because you're going to pick your brother up from the airport and you just said that. And then here's just a bunch of different things that we can do to meet you halfway that are super helpful. I think that this is, both scary and good. So my closing statements are basically that I think that there's a lot of listening going on. I think that there's more listening going on than people are aware of. I think that it's going to become super dangerous in the future because if I don't know what's being recorded and what's being logged and what they're using for marketing purposes, or what they even classify as a violating of privacy policy, then, where does it stop? When do they stop recording me? Do they ever stop recording me? What keywords do they look for? All of these things just kind of make me nervous and decrease my level of privacy and how I feel. So I think that the book is really valuable, and that everyone should kind of just even think about the fact that maybe their devices are recording and listening to them all the time. So thank you.